call us. Salamat po!
The big news in Hollywood right now connects Africa and Los Angeles. Another Jackson is in the headlines, and it's not Michael Jackson. Attorney Jesus Silva is here joining us on the show. He is a family lawyer, and he's going to be talking to us about family law, starting with the Jermaine Jackson case. Attorney, can you take us through that case?
Thank you, Janelle. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother, is stuck in Africa. Believe it or not, he's actually outside of the country, and he failed to pay his child support. And as the California statutes have held, in California, paying child support is one of the most important things that any parent can do. They're not going to let him out of it. And what a lot of people don't know is if you owe more than $2,500 in child support and it's being collected through the county, they'll automatically let the State Department of the United States know. And so if you've got a passport and it's expired, as unfortunately Mr. Jackson's has, you will not be allowed to get it reissued.
Okay. Now, we're hearing conflicting stories about this. We're hearing that the kids, Jermaine Jackson's kids, are actually with Jermaine's mom. If that's the case, is the wife or the ex-wife still eligible to sue for child support?
Well, my understanding is that the court order emanates from 2008. So at the time the court order was issued, more than likely the children were probably living with the mother at that time. As where they are right now, it's on the burden of the parents to try to adjust it. So if the grandparents have it, perhaps the grandparents at this point could bring their own petition for child support.
Okay, so
but what they're trying to enforce now is the old 2008 order.
Right, so you're clear about this, that the law is on the ex-wife's side on this case.
It's on the
child support,
it's on the side of the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's along the line the best interest of the child.
Right. Okay. Now, what if you were Jermaine Jackson's lawyer? What would you advise him?
He's going to have to try.
Pay.
Well, he won't even be able to leave or come into this country, come back to the United States, unless the State Department, basically the embassy, allows him some sort of travel documents to come back into the country. Because anybody who has their passport expire while they've got a violation of child support will not be able to leave or come back into the country. So he needs to petition the United States Embassy in whatever country he's at to try to come back to the country. And naturally, I think that there is going to be some way for him to come back because they want somebody who owes child support to pay it. They don't want him to stay outside the country. The intent of the law is to keep people in the United States from fleeing the country without paying child support.
And that is what we're talking about today on the show. We'll open our phone lines if we can put our phone numbers up so people can call. We have Attorney Jesus Silva for you today, and he will be answering questions about divorce, child support, child custody, and all that. How does this relate to Filipinos?
Well, Filipinos come to this country like any other large group with running the gamut of their issues, whether they're criminal or immigration. Naturally, when they come to this country, a lot of them want to, they fall out of love, they fall back into love. So as a family attorney, I tend to see a lot of immigration issues that touch close to home, really relating to domestic violence, to changes of having new spouses, new lovers in their lives, sometimes new family members, children, in fact, and siblings as well. So the issues of family law and immigrants coming into the country often dovetail right into each other, like they would in American families.
Okay, say for example the Jermaine Jackson case. What about Filipinos maybe who leave the country, go back to the Philippines to get away from their child support duties? You know, how do you deal with that? How does the government deal with that?
Well, you can't get away from child support, no matter what. You can't even declare bankruptcy and get rid of your child support debt. So it's something that is taken very seriously, and it's always prioritized among the debts that somebody has to pay. You can't get rid of it, and I'm sure that it does apply for a lot of Philippine people as well who have come to the country or left the country as well. If they have these huge outstanding debts, they're not going to be able to get away from them, even if they flee the country.
Right. So even if they go back to the Philippines, they're still liable to pay child support.
Yes, it's going to be hard to find them, mind you, but if they ever step foot back into the United States, they are going to be held accountable for it. And if they have any sort of monies or assets, their funds can be attached, they can be taxed and withdrawn by the person the parental person who has custody of the children.
Right, and I know there's so many issues. The laws, I know in immigration, for example, the laws keep changing. What about in family law? Do you have anything new these days?
They have changed quite a bit, and they change from year to year. There are some new procedures in the law, which basically are better for litigants in the sense that in the past, if you had a temporary order, you didn't have a right necessarily to be heard in court. As of January 1st this year, the courts are mandating that everybody, even in a temporary situation, has a right to actually speak up in court, and actually sit there and talk to the court and say, this is my story. That was never the case in the past. So this is going to be a real sea change in the way that the courts deal with litigants.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it's bad in the sense that it's going to make the court procedures much, much, much slower. Because you can imagine how long it takes for a court to elicit testimony from each and every individual litigant. But better for the litigant to be able to get your story out there, because some people are terrible writers and don't know how to put down a very good declaration and tell a story to the court that this is what happened and this is why I want you to judge in this scenario.
Okay, and that is just for starters today on Kababayan LA Talk Tuesday. We're talking about family law. If you have any questions, divorce, child support, child custody, spousal support, that's the number to call on the screen. We will be back with your questions. Don't go away.